Lucas loved rainy days. While other children longed for sunshine, Lucas found joy in the pitter-patter of raindrops. He loved the way the world smelled clean and fresh after a downpour. He loved the sound of rain drumming against his bedroom window.
One day, a big storm blew into town. The wind howled outside and rain lashed against the windows. Lucas, cozy in his pajamas, watched with delight as lightning flashed across the sky. He imagined the raindrops as tiny dancers, twirling and leaping in the puddles below.
Lucas's mom brought him hot chocolate and snuggled beside him. "What do you like most about the rain, Lucas?" she asked, her voice warm and soothing.
Lucas took a sip of his hot chocolate, the marshmallows melting on his tongue.
"I like how it makes everything feel new again," he replied.
The storm raged on, keeping Lucas indoors. He had already finished his homework and read all his favorite comics. Looking for something to do, he decided to explore the attic. The attic was dark and dusty, filled with forgotten treasures and old furniture draped in white sheets. A shaft of light from the window illuminated a dusty old chest, tucked away in a corner. Curious, Lucas made his way towards it, his heart pounding with anticipation.
He knelt and slowly lifted the heavy lid. Inside, amongst old photographs and yellowed letters, lay a leather-bound book. The book was ancient and beautiful, its cover adorned with intricate silver designs. Lucas picked it up, his fingers tracing the delicate patterns.
As he opened the book, a musty scent filled the air, transporting him to a different time. The pages were filled with swirling script and colorful illustrations. Lucas felt a thrill of excitement. He had stumbled upon a magical book. He settled down on an old trunk, eager to discover the secrets hidden within. The book told the story of a once prosperous kingdom trapped in an eternal storm. A powerful sorcerer, heartbroken over the loss of his beloved, had cast a spell of perpetual rain and thunder. The illustrations depicted a land shrouded in darkness, the citizens living in fear and despair.
However, a prophecy spoke of a young knight who would lift the curse. This knight, pure of heart and courageous in spirit, would find the sorcerer and remind him of the power of love and forgiveness. Only then could the sun break through the dark clouds and bring life back to the kingdom.
Lucas was captivated by the tale. He felt a surge of sympathy for the people of the kingdom and the lonely sorcerer. The story felt strangely familiar, as if it held a deeper meaning he couldn't quite grasp. As he closed the book, a powerful gust of wind rattled the attic windows. A single thought echoed in Lucas's mind. He had to help break the sorcerer's curse. Lucas wasn't sure how a book could transport him to a magical land, but he was determined to try. He raced to his bedroom window. The storm outside was fiercer than ever. Lightning illuminated the woods behind his house, making the trees look like gnarled fingers reaching for the sky. He had a feeling the book wanted him to go into the woods.
Taking a deep breath, Lucas opened his window and climbed out. The wind whipped at his face as he ran towards the trees, the book clutched tightly in his hand.
As he entered the woods, the trees seemed to close in around him, their branches swaying as if whispering secrets to the wind. He felt a strange sense of familiarity, as if he had walked this path before. Lucas pressed on, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and excitement. He wasn't sure how long he had been walking when he came across a peculiar sight. In a clearing, surrounded by a ring of mushrooms, stood a little cottage with smoke curling from its chimney. It looked exactly like the cottage from the book. Gathering his courage, Lucas approached the cottage. As he drew closer, he noticed that the mushrooms surrounding the clearing were no ordinary fungi. They shimmered with an otherworldly glow, their caps painted in every color imaginable.
As Lucas reached out to touch one, a voice startled him.
"Those are whispering wonders, young one. Best not to touch them unless you wish to speak the language of squirrels."
Lucas whirled around to find a little old woman with twinkling eyes and a mischievous smile. She wore a dress made of colorful patches and a hat adorned with feathers and beads.
"Who are you?" Lucas asked, his voice barely a whisper.
The old woman chuckled. "I am Willow, keeper of the Whispering Woods, and you, young one, must be Lucas."
Lucas was stunned. How did she know his name? Willow, seeming to read his thoughts, simply winked.
"The woods have a way of telling me these things. Now come in, come in. A cup of hot tea awaits."
Willow's cottage was warm and inviting, filled with the aroma of herbs and freshly baked bread. She served Lucas hot tea and honey cakes, listening intently as he recounted the story of the book and his journey into the woods.
The sorcerer you seek lives beyond the Cave of Echoes, Willow said, her voice grave. But be warned, Lucas. The cave is a treacherous place filled with illusions and whispers of doubt. Only a pure heart can navigate its depths.
Willow gave Lucas a lantern and a walking stick.
This will help you find your way, she said. Remember, Lucas, courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. And kindness is a language even the loneliest heart can understand.
Armed with Willow's words and gifts, Lucas set off towards the Cave of Echoes. The path was steep and winding, the air thick with mist. As he entered the cave, a chorus of whispers echoed around him, whispering doubts and fears. Lucas felt a tremor of fear, but remembered Willow's words. He held his lantern high, its light cutting through the darkness. He pressed on, his heart beating with a newfound courage. The Cave of Echoes tested Lucas's resolve. He encountered illusions that shifted and swirled, trying to lead him astray. Whispers taunted him, amplifying his every fear and doubt. But Lucas held on to the memory of the night from the book, his own heart a beacon against the darkness. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he emerged from the cave and into a hidden valley. A lone figure stood by a shimmering lake, his back turned towards Lucas. He wore a long, flowing robe, his shoulders slumped with what seemed like an eternity of sorrow. This had to be the sorcerer.
Why have you come, child? Don't you realize this land is cursed? My curse.
I know about your sadness, and I know about the curse. But I also know about love, and I believe it's stronger than any storm.
Lucas then recounted the story of the night from the book, his voice echoing in the silent valley. The sorcerer listened intently, his expression unreadable. When Lucas finished, the sorcerer sank to the ground, tears streaming down his face. He began to tell his own tale, a heartbreaking story of love lost and a grief so profound it had consumed him, twisting his magic into a curse that blighted the land. Lucas nodded earnestly. The sorcerer considered Lucas's words, his expression shifting from despair to contemplation. Yes. Do you really think there's beauty in the rain? As Lucas spoke, the sorcerer seemed to shrink in on himself, the weight of his grief lessening. He looked at Lucas, his eyes filled with a flicker of hope. Sometimes the rain helps things grow stronger. It washes away the old and makes way for the new. Maybe it's time to let the sun shine through again. Not to forget your love, but to let it nourish you, like rain nourishes the earth. Lucas listened patiently, his heart filled with compassion for the lonely sorcerer. He understood now that the curse wasn't born out of malice, but out of despair. The sorcerer hadn't meant to hurt anyone. He was simply trapped in his own grief. When the sorcerer finished his story, Lucas sat beside him. He didn't offer empty platitudes or easy solutions. Instead, he spoke of his own love for rainy days, how they made him feel cleansed and renewed. He spoke of the beauty he found in the world, even in the midst of storms.
You're right, child. Thank you for reminding me of the light. The sorcerer looked at the storm clouds swirling above them, a flicker of light appearing in his eyes. He raised his hands, his fingers tracing patterns in the air. The wind, which had been howling through the valley, began to soften. The rain gradually subsided, replaced by a gentle drizzle. Slowly, tentatively, the clouds parted, revealing a sliver of blue sky. A ray of sunshine broke through, bathing the valley in a warm, golden light. As the sun emerged, a wave of relief washed over the sorcerer.
With a final gesture, the sorcerer lifted the curse. The storm clouds dissipated completely, making way for a clear blue sky. The valley, bathed in sunshine, seemed to sigh with relief. Birdsong filled the air, replacing the mournful whistle of the wind. Lucas watched in amazement as the transformation took place. He had done it. He had helped break the curse and bring sunshine back to the lost kingdom. The sorcerer, his heart lighter than it had been in ages, used his magic to send Lucas back home. He appeared in his bedroom, the book lying open on his lap. It felt like a dream, but he knew it was real. The sun streamed through his window, painting his room in a warm glow. News of the lifted curse spread throughout the kingdom. Villagers emerged from their homes, their faces filled with joy and disbelief as they basked in the warmth of the sun. They celebrated Lucas's bravery, their hearts filled with gratitude for the young boy who had reminded them of the power of hope.
I knew that even in the darkest of times, a single act of kindness could make a world of difference.
Lucas returned to his normal life, but he carried the memory of his adventure close to his heart. He continued to love rainy days, but he also learned to appreciate the sunshine, knowing that every storm eventually gives way to clear skies. The story of Lucas and the eternal storm became a legend, passed down through generations. It served as a reminder that even the smallest among us can make a difference, and that courage and kindness are the most powerful weapons of all. And whenever the villagers looked up at the sun shining after a rainstorm, they remembered the boy who taught them that even a heart consumed by darkness could find solace in the light.